Welcome to the nation. I'm Jared Ratnam. As an extension of the recently observed and celebrated IWD, which is International Women's Day, we discuss how age-related biases affect women and ways to challenge limiting ideas for a more equitable society. That's what we're always looking for. We'll cover mental health, workplace and school fairness, and how men can help fight against age discrimination. Join us for an informative discussion. In the studio to help me do that, I have Fu En. She's a celebrity psychotherapist. She's an author. She's done so many things. She's been on the show before, and she's here with us again. Fu En, thank you very much for taking time off to be with us. Just so much to unpack with regards to women and the International Women's Day celebration. But I'd like to start with this. I've got a list of questions, but sometimes it comes to my head. So just recently we had Rasa Daiba Razi, or Dato YB Dato Rasa Daiba Razi, go to Washington, receive an award. Then that followed up with some really better news with Tan Sri Michelle Yeoh winning an Oscar. So two women from Malaysia have gone to the United States and come back with something. Of course, it's a great step forward for us. But one thing Michelle Yeoh said, which stood out in my mind, is simply this. She said, I'm not, never let anyone tell you that you're past your prime. And I say this because I work on TV, and everyone tells me I'm old now. And everyone told people I've learned from, even from the time I was in Radio 4 in RTM. I all the greats. You remember Ellen Zachariah, Janet Ambrose, all these people. People actually told them that they were old and they were not relevant for radio back then. And this is where I want to start this conversation today when we talk about that. You want to talk about ageism, but why are women told what they can and can't do at different ages, and how does this affect them? I'm not even going to talk about men now. I just want to talk about women.
Now, it all boils back to how society and even certain cultural contexts they perceive women as. Especially in Asian, they always see that women is someone who needs protection, someone who is weak, is perceived to be, right? Because when we are young, we always often say that, brothers need to take after the sisters. Men supposed to be the breadwinner of the family, and the women supposed to stay at home. They do not get themselves exposed. And that's why when you have all these cultural and stereotypes, perceptions set in, then you would see women that, okay, at certain age, you must do this. Because you are being guided now so that you won't fall victim into certain situation. Women perceive as needing that protection. That's why the elderly will give them that guidelines. Okay, at this age you're supposed to go to school, right? Once you have completed school, that's it. You are supposed to get married. And then if you don't get married by the age of 30, then the elderly are going to start to be concerned, because what is going to happen to you if you're not married, right?
It's so prevalent in our society. I mean, within family, friends of mine, like even last night, watching my mother watch a drama on TV, right? And there's this matriarch, or an old lady, and everyone's calling her grandmother of some sort. So there are 5 women there, and they say they're asking her, what's going to happen to all your things when you're gone. She says, women, don't worry about what happens to my things. Just worry about doing your work in the kitchen. Can you all go back to the kitchen? And that's how we, and this is happening within, some TV drama in Tamil. Okay. And I saw that happen in front of my eyes. And we're just coming out of celebrating International Women's Day. So how much have we learned here in Asia? So I'm not saying that's a Tamil culture. I'm saying it's a very predominantly very Asian culture, and it's very us. Are we moving out of the mold? Have you seen any changes?
I think the younger generations now, they have more privilege in this area, because a lot more people are coming out to advocate that it's never about the age, it's never about the numbers. It used to be that they have this saying in Cantonese, when you are at 20 years old, you are like a rose, a flower, right? It's just waiting to bloom. When you're 40, you are like a used tea leaves, you are worth nothing. But at this moment in time, they have changed that It's like only when you reach 30 years old, 40 years old, it's the starting time for you to bloom right now. It's no longer about age. It's about what you do. It's about how you carry on your lives. So the younger generations right now, they are more privileged in that kind of sense because more women came out to work. They get themselves more exposed. They are more vocal right now. So we stand up for the younger generations. So they have more privilege in terms of that area. Compared to our time, our mother's time, women, they don't get that kind of privilege. They will be controlled in what they do, how they behave, what they should do, at what age. Even the kind of friends that they have, they were controlled.
Mm-hmm. But do you see things changing? You see things around you changing. You're an advocate for this now, but from the time you grew up and when you look around you, have things changed much?
Things have changed definitely, but the speed of change can definitely be improved. When we have more women coming up to the market and speak and advocate for all these changes and building allies with men working together, I think we were going to see a lot more changes taking place after this. Those days back in my time, I still remember my mom, she used to stay at home. She is not allowed to mix with friends. So her mindset is very much about what to do at home. And now that she is old already, at 65, 66 this year, when all of us are adults, she will start to feel, what good am I now? What should I do right now? So and that is not healthy in terms of the mental and emotionally. It's going to affect her a lot more. My time, like our time right now, we will see that the working women, they are out there exposing themselves socially. They have their own circle of friends. They can go out and express. They teach their younger children of different things. So that is a very huge improvement.
Right.
But we need to get the younger generations to start to also stand up and speak up for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So the younger generation needs to learn and start speaking up for themselves. The question is how. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to delve into more of these. Hopefully we can talk about what can people do to challenge ideas that limit women's opportunities here in Malaysia. We'll come back with that when we speak to Fuan and find out more about her work as a celebrity psychotherapist. We'll also find out more about that when we come back right here on The Nation. Stay with us.
Get the update of the week gone by on the Global Catch-Up. A weekly run-through of the big stories from around the world. .30 p.m. every Sunday, only on Bernama TV.
Thank you for staying with us right here on The Nation. Bernama TV, Jared Ratnam with you. We're currently speaking to celebrity psychotherapist Fuan. She has done a lot of work in this space, and she's now advocating women's rights by getting women to go out and speak for themselves and also to speak their minds, more importantly. Now let's go back to how can we change people's ideas about women's ages so they aren't limited?
I think the most fundamental part is still very much based on the education that we have today. What are the teachers telling the students about numbers, about age? Well, in the government, right, they have all these rules and guidelines. At only 16 you can do this, at only 18 you can do this, at 21 you can do this. It's always very, very controlled and guided by age. And that's why when we are conditioned since in early education that it is the age that determines what we can or cannot, you will grow up to become very normalized and very, very accustomed to, okay,
what are we looking at here? Age discrimination is a growing workplace problem. So let's just talk about this before we go back to what you're saying.
The age discrimination.
Right.
Okay, all right. So we have women who claim that this is actually from the AFRP, that is a study that has already been conducted in year 2021. And women aged 50 and above, they say that they have experienced 64% of the women claim that they have experienced age discrimination, and they said workers who says age discrimination is a common thing, 90%. And this reflects that
women who have experienced age discrimination, that comes in at 64%. Men who have experienced age discrimination, 59%. I'm in that 59%, I think. And employees who face formal complaints, from HR, with HR, 3%. Yeah, a lot of my friends at work too. Okay, so having said that, we are all victimized in some way. Now, going back to what you're talking about, you said women, at a certain age, they can only do certain things. So if you're 16, you can only do this number of things. When you're 18, you can do this number of things. When you're 21, you get to do these things, and so on and so forth. Now, knowing this full well, what are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that we change this?
Two ways of looking at it. Of course, we can advocate for the change. We have activists who actually lobby for the policy changes and all those things. But I also very, very much want to advocate for the women themselves to start speak up for themselves. It's like when you look at the statistics just now, only 3% lodge complaints to the HR. While the majority is like more than 50%, whether it's men or women in particular, because it's like more than 60% of them having this age discrimination, and they did nothing about that. So if you want your rights, if you want yourself to be heard, you want to fight for your rights, you got to start to show up, speak up, and step up to that expectations. And right now,
show up, speak up, and step up to that.
Step up.
It sounds easy, but are there other steps? Okay, when you say show up, okay, so what do I need to do?
They need to have that courage. Need the courage. For example, when I'm in my mid-40s right now, right? I used to be in the corporates as well, and I used to not speaking up. There's a lot of things that when I face difficulties or when I face certain unhappy events at work, I'll just shut it off and I'll just do whatever that is expected of me. That is how I used to be. Not until when I realized that we can actually go for what we want in life and start asking for it. You will never get it until you start asking for it. It all boils down to how much you love yourself, how much you actually treasure your life. When you have enough of listening to other people, when you have enough of fulfilling other people's expectations, then you'll start to want to make that change. It's that simple. When you have enough of people trampling all over you, telling you what to do, following their instructions, that's where you want to have that shift. I think women, when we have more women coming up to say that, no, I'm not happy with this thing, the first question is, if you're not happy with whatever that is happening around you, what are you doing about it? Are you going to just allow yourself to be the victim, just continue to do whatever the other people tell you to, despite you complain?
Saying, okay, now you tell someone to speak up and they speak up, but they get blowback, by speaking up, people give them a hard time or they're singled out. So then what's the next course of action?
We have seen this over and over again. Let's say when we have this 500 milliliter of spritzer water, if you are being sold at KK Mart, it's about $180, $20 max, right? If you go to a mid-class cafe, you can actually only have it at around $5, $6 per bottle. But if you have it in a five-star hotel, that same bottle of water is going to cost you at least 15 ringgit. Okay,
your point here is?
My point here is, if that situation, if that company doesn't know how to value your expertise, your voice, your opinion, that is not your right place. Move on.
So if you're talking about younger people who are not in companies but are in schools, and they're now 16, and you say at 16 you're expected to do only this number of things, you can't do anything more, you can't break out of the mold, so to speak. So at 16, if someone wants to speak out, what are the rules of doing so? Are there any P's and Q's that I need to remember when I'm 16 years old but I want to speak out?
For me, it's as easy as long as you do not break the official laws, go experiment. Do whatever that it deems fit to you. As long as you do not break the law. Because look at Greta Thunberg. Right? She is very, very young. We also have small kids who suddenly says that, okay, I have so much of toys somewhere outside my country, other kids didn't get to play with toys, and I now want to ship all my toys over to help these people. What's stopping them? Nothing is stopping anyone from doing anything, regardless of age, how young you are, how old you are. If you have that intention, if that is something that you are passionate with, I would say go for it, as long as it doesn't violate any laws or jurisdictions.
So the game is simple. All you have to do is think of what you want to do or how you want to say it, or if you want to break out of your mold and do whatever you want to do or experiment, all you need to do is step out, but do not break any laws.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, and also we have been taught to conform in our education itself. When you're at school, when you're at home, at the early childhood, you're supposed to take instructions. You're supposed to do a set of things which are being expected out of you as a kid, as an elder brother or a younger sister, or as a student. You're supposed to do this. So when we grew up, we are still very much the same person that we are in as a child, conforming and taking instructions of other people. But what about your own expectation? What is it? What about your own dreams? What about the things that you are passionate with, the things that you want to do for yourself? Right? So these are the things that you need to ponder and to reflect. Get out from that conformity and be who you truly are, instead of just being any other normal people, that commoners, or just follow whatever that is being expected.
Right. Hold that thought. We're going to take another short break. When we come back, we'll continue and try to wrap this up and see what it takes for a woman to get out of that comfort zone, or get out of that place that's blocking her, and be able to be herself. There are so many ways of doing it. We're going to find out a couple of ways before we end this show right here on Pranama TV. Stay with us. This is The Nation. Thanks for staying with us right here on The Nation. We're currently talking to Fu En. She's a celebrity psychotherapist, and we're talking about women and how we can get women to break out of where they are and push forward, because we seem to see that this has become a big problem the world over, more so in Asia. Now, we've talked a lot about it. Still have a lot of questions, but time is not on our side. Now, I think we know enough as to different stages in life. You need to do different things. You need to experiment. You need to move out. And that's how you become a better person, and you step out of your comfort zone, and you are able to taste life more than most women are doing at this point. Now, I think it's time we look at strategies. What should a woman do if she feels constricted? What strategies do you have for us that can help us take that next step forward?
I think we can look up for mentors easily. Mentors, women who actually loud enough, bold enough to actually wanting to help you, support you to get to the next level. And I felt that this is very, very much lacking in the society nowadays. You say we need a mentor. So sorry, I have to stop you here, because when you say everyone is becoming a mentor in this country, whether they qualify to be a mentor, that's the other problem. Correct.
Yeah. So how do we balance between this? Okay. So you say look for a mentor, but we've got too many mentors. You move out of the studio, you take a stone and throw it on someone's head, chances are he or she is a mentor. Yeah.
That's very, very true. But then again, you need to observe certain people long enough, know them long enough before you seek out, right? You don't simply ask for mentorship. You want to know someone if that person is genuinely wanting to mentor you, and is this the type of mentor that you want to follow? Right? We have a lot of people who are great in speaking, but do nothing. Right? You want to look for mentors who are not just good in speaking, but who literally helps you, motivates you, encourages you to take the steps to move forward. A lot of the women goes into the networking setting, and they thought they want to speak, they want to look out for the mentors. They will always ask like, what is it in for me? If I mentor you, what benefit am I going to get? Right? So again, it very much depends on how women perceive themselves. First thing, second thing, what are our roles, even as an individual, to help out other sisters around us? Are we speaking about them? Are we actually encouraging them to move on, to motivate them to the next level? Because women tend to love to compare and criticize in terms of what is bad, what is toxic. It's like, oh, I'm having a bad day today, and the other person will say that, oh, today also I'm having a bad day, and she'll go on listing what is it that is bad. It's like a competition who is having the worst day of that day. So that sort of setting is not motivating, it's not helping them in any way. So women themselves have to start to look at it from a different perspective. Instead of having a bad day, what are the things that they have learned from that bad experiences? And when we change that environment setting, when we change that context, right, we're able to help women to level up instead. Instead of going down, spiral down, we are now helping them to see from a different perspective. They learn something, then they tend to want to have, they will get more confident in whatever that they do.
Right, so that's strategy number one. What else do you have for us?
I think the second part is very much on women understanding what is it that is keeping them silent. Is it the fear that they were worried about judgment? Is it the worry that what will come after that? When they speak up, they have to reflect what is stopping them from voicing out.
So you need to ascertain or establish who your mentor is going to be. Then you need to find your pain points, because you need to bring these pain points to your mentor.
Exactly. So like I said, you don't simply seek out to any mentors. You want to seek out mentors who have been there, done that, and they are doing that. Not just saying what they are doing, but really experiencing that and out from that part. Already.
Right. So strategy 2 is or part 2 is to write down all the things you feel that are holding you back, and that will be easier. Would that make it easier for a mentor to work with you? Definitely. And what next?
And the other thing that we can also look at is again having that mastermind. Perhaps setting a mastermind, like setting up with a few friends, sisters who wants to make that change, who shares the same common interests or perhaps the same pain points, who wants to get to the next level. Right. So we need to join forces, not just speaking in silo, but joining forces. I think that itself, individually, as a group, it will start to create a lot more ripple effect, which is more impactful rather than just one person doing it.
Right. We've got 2 minutes now, and we need to use this time wisely. Young women who feel limited by societal stereotypes based on their age and gender. What's your advice for them?
First, you need to understand what is it that you want. Go for it. Never let anyone, it's just the same as what Michelle Yeoh has said. Never let anyone to dictate who can you be, what can you do.
Right.
Go for it.
I think I feel that the young people are doing okay in this country.
Yes.
They're doing well, and they speak their minds, they're moving up. I'd like you to talk, in the next 1 minute, I'd like you to talk to people who are doing work like me, people who are on TV, a lot of women who are on TV doing a lot of work, and then someone comes and tells, you're too old, you can't be on TV anymore. And that's what Tan Sri Michelle Yeoh said, never let anyone tell you that you're past your prime. TV and radio is so bad in this country because we keep changing and taking younger people all the time. We've got great anchors who are in their 50s and 60s and we don't show them off because I don't know what we're trying to sell on TV. So what would be your advice to these women who are always told off that they're old and they're past their prime?
The only thing that I would want to say, your reply to these people is watch me. Watch me, tell them to watch you and really do the work, right? We need all the people who are experienced to actually guide and continue to contribute based on whatever experiences that they have. And they have vast experiences which is so rich, so knowledgeable, and yet you want to park them aside and just get the fresh people to come in just because of how they look.
It's called the eye candy era. With that, I'd like to thank you so much, Phuan. It's a pleasure and an honor speaking to you. We hope to have you back in the studio at some point to join us again and to talk about the 10 other questions that I have for you in here.
Mental and emotional
On that note, we've run out of time. We'd like to thank Phuan for coming in. We'd like to thank you for joining us on the show. Join us again when we cover other topics right here on The Nation, brought to you by Bernama TV. You have a great day ahead and stay with us on Bernama TV for more updates. Jared Rodham signing up.